Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين إنه خير ناصر ومعين. Hope you all doing great for today, for 4 days, and so happy Eid, like Al-Adha and the Eid Ghadir for the few days later, 2 days. So today we're gonna have the Imamat, Islamic thought, that some people like Shia believes this is a pillar, the Usul al-Din, and some other believes that it's not. But we're going to talk and see where the Imamat started and what does it mean, what is the attitude of Imamat in Shia, Ahl Sunnah, and what is the differences between the Shia and Ahl Sunnah. We will talk about that for today. So this topic, because we're going to have one session about it, we're going to be very, very in general. So we're just going to see some ideas about it, some thought about it, and a little bit beliefs in Shia. So if you have any question from the last session, all of the previous sessions, we will talk about it in the end of this session. So because this session is going to be our last session in all the sessions, and we're going to end it up for today, and for the next, we don't have into the next sessions. It's going to be the end of our journey. We can call it our journey. So if we have another time to speak of other topics, we're going to do it in after Muharram. So if we have times or everything will be okay, going to have it in the after Muharram, then we'll be in specific topics, not in general like this. But now we're going to talk about it in general, and hope we're going to be a good session as your last sessions and mine. Okay, so we know we are having some in commons, ideas, attitude, and thoughts in Islam. What is it that we spoke about it? One is the Tawheed, speak the first. The onenesses of the God. You will believe in it. No differences. Like we don't have any problem in like all Muslims sect to say, no, we don't believe in Tawheed. No, everyone believes in the Tawheed and onenesses of the God. Second part, we found out that, I'm not talking about the attributes of the God, that God has to send a prophet to this world. For what reasons? We talk about it. That has many reasons to send a prophet, to guide the people, to show them the good things and bad things and other things. So we found out that God has a prophet for himself. Another thing is sending a book. That we all still believe in the book. So we know why God didn't send a book by itself, like why God didn't send in just a book. It's because it needs a translation for the people to understand it. It needs someone to tell it and explain it to the other peoples. So he sent a messenger to send his message. It will be also a better situation to keep his own religion. This is the reason why he didn't send only the book. So all Muslims said, like, we believe in the Tawheed. This is the Tawheed. We believe in the prophethood, and we believe in the Quran. So this is all okay. Nothing happened right now. But there is another sect in Islam. They have their own thought in the Tawheed even. Like they believe in that, for example, we believe in onenesses of the God and believe that God is not a human, doesn't have a human body. But what they say, okay, according to Quran, that Yadullah fawqa aydihim, I mean, means God has a hand. Allah ala rashid istawa, they believe that God has a chair for himself. Well, they say a kursi, has a kursi for himself. So This is a part of Wahhabiyat also, that they believe in the God has a hand, the God has eyes, God has a chair for himself, he sits, he has a place for himself. So he believes in himself. That why we say that this is why the book needs a translation, needs someone to explain it. Book for itself cannot tells everything to everybody. So we'll find out that the prophethood, and we're not talking about the Wahhabiyat, we're just talking about the majority of Islam. So all believing almost the same. Oneness of the God, the prophethood, the Quran. Now we want to speak like we know as Salat is wajib for every human, not for all, for Muslims. Salat is wajib. So how we should pray this Salat? It's not mentioned in the Quran. Is it 2 rak'ah? Is it 4 rak'ah? Is it 3 rak'ah? Is it even 1 rak'ah? It's not mentioned in Quran. So who should tell us? Someone who's sent by the God, like the Prophet, or it can be the Prophet. How is the Sawm? How is the fasting? All, not just fasting by itself, I'm just saying all the rules of the fasting. All the relation between the men and women. Where do you find it? What should we eat? Like, am I allowed to eat all seafoods? Am I allowed to eat all the animals on the planet or not? Who should tell me? Is it only the pig that I can't eat it or not? There is other animals that I can't eat. So where is this rules? Can you find it in the Quran? No. How should we punish someone who has made a mistake? For example, someone who has killed a person. Is it just directly like killing him and execute him or hang him? Is it like that, or has some rules? If someone stolen something, someone has stolen something, should we just, because he has stolen something or she has stolen something, we should cut their fingers or not? So where do you can find these rules? By someone who is sent by the God. It can be the Prophet. Like someone came to the Imam Jawad, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Imam Jawad, and they had a problem. One of the problem was this, that someone has stolen something and they wanted to cut his hand. They say in Quran says فَقْتَوْا أَيْدِيَهُمْ. What was the verses? I forgot all the verses. It was just فَقْتَوْا أَيْدِيَهُمْ. It says like cut their hands. So they said, okay, the ulama of that time, they said فَقْتَوْا أَيْدِيَهُمْ means like from the wrists. You should cut it from here. Some people came and said, no, from the elbows. This is the hand is from elbows. They sent to Imam Jawad that, what should we do? You said you are knowledgeable, you the son of the Prophet, and what should we do? Imam Jawad says, from the fingers. They said, why? They said, because this hand, the place of this hand is for the God, and because of the sujood. It's mentioned in Quran, and God wants it in the all the riwayats. So it's for the sujood, and first you want to do is first from the fingers you have to start. This is one of the reasons that we need someone to explain it for us. So you'll see that it's not always that we can find the Quran. If someone says, I know it, I can understand, you'll go directly like that's a person who believes in, those people who believes in that God has hands, God has eyes, God has a power, like sitting on a chair and all other things. So we'll go through that. If you believe that the Quran will be just only book and we don't need other people, we don't need an explanation and other things that we believe in, this means that we don't also believe in the prophets. Because if we just say book is enough, book is all the things that we want, it means that prophet was something extra, something that we didn't need it. So why was he here? This is this respecting even the prophet, insulting the prophet. If you just say that Quran is only the book and we just only need the Quran. So we see that God sent the prophet and the Quran. We will find that there is a part in Islam, people says, okay, now we want to talk after the prophets. We have no problem till now, this time, like the prophethood times, and now we want to talk about after the prophet. Why we need an imam? The reason. We see that prophet had only 13 years of sending the God's message. Just only 13 years. And 3 years of his time was hidden. Like he was just only inviting, guiding his family. It was hidden. And according to the history, one of his time was in the battle. One another time he was in Sha'b Abi Talib. So you will see that he was also in the difficulties. Couldn't just tell all the story of Islam and the rules of Islam. So till now, you will see that God doesn't have prophet didn't have enough time to mention and tell all the rule of Islam. So we will go through the time that you'll find that we need someone. If someone says it is only mentioned by the Shia that Imam is necessary, it is not right. Who's Hanbali, Imam Hanbali? Who's Imam Shafi'i? Who is Imam Maliki? So why do we have Imam Shafi'i? Why do we have Imam Hanbali? Why do we have Imam Maliki or Imam Hanafi? Why do we have them? If only Shia believes in Imam, why do we have those 4 sects of Islam? Why don't you just say the Quran? So it's not only in the Shia. Even in Wahhabiyat, Ibn Taymiyyah, Abdul Wahhab, so they're the Imam of the Wahhabiyat. So you see, it's not only in Shia. They have their own Imams. They have their own ahkam, their fiqh. They believe it. So it's not only in Shia. So if someone says only Shia believes in Imam, that's wrong. That's not true. Shia is not the only sect of Islam that believes in Imam. Okay, the part is the differences in here that we say the Imam should be chosen by the God, because he's going to explain the rule of the God. He's a person who's going to get the power to be in charge in Islam, the book, and other things that relate to Islam. So who can choose that person is only the God. But in this place, Ahl Sunnah believes in that this person, that Imam, should be chosen by the people, the Islamic society. And it's not mentioned by the Prophet or things or riwayat that we don't want to talk about it right now. So this is the differences that they say Imam should be chosen by God. In Shia, Ahl Sunnah says it should be chosen. It's not necessary to be chosen by the God. It can be the human being. All Muslim people disagreed on their person. And second thing, someone will come that if we have the majority, that means that we have the rights. So majority is not, it doesn't mean that if you are majority, you are correct. And it doesn't mean that if you are not in majority, you're incorrect. And also, it doesn't mean that also can be majority is correct. It doesn't mean that it's necessary to be something. But when we go through the Quran, we'll find out in the Quran it says أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا تَفْهَمُونَ, all other things. That God says most people don't understand, most people don't know it. So being in a majority, it's not necessary that means you are correct. So we know that Islam is still not in majority. the vote. Christianity is majority. So now you have to believe that, okay, Christianity is true. Like back in prophet time, like pagans were a majority. So we have to believe that majority being pagan is correct? No. Like in Europe, imagine most European people, they don't know anything about the other countries. They know about themselves. Like even if you go to United States, they don't know anything about geography. About is there in other countries? They don't know it. Most people, it's mentioned that in like some European countries, they are atheists. Some countries are 90%, like just only 10% are like having religion. The all rest are atheists. So it doesn't mean that the majority is correct. No, it's not necessarily like that. So another reason, the third one that people will come up is, okay, why people like human being, why other Muslim didn't go to that person, they gone to that person. So it means Muslims have made a mistake or not. Why, if you say that it's mentioned by the Prophet, why they made another path? Why the Muslims made a mistake? So we can find another story of the time. People never listened to the Prophet Noah. He just could guide like the animals and few people. So it means the Prophet Noah didn't say anything to the people? No. We go through the Prophet Saleh. He asked people to keep this camel alive, don't go get near them. And after that some people decided to kill the camel and eat the meat. They were so hungry. Did they listen to the Prophet Saleh? No. But Prophet Saleh, did he mention that do not get close to that camel? Yes. We go just a higher level, the Prophet Moses. God sent him to the Tur Sina to pray. 30 days, and after that extended for 10 days and become 40 days. When he come back to his nation, they were worshipping a cow. Do we have a higher situation like this? That Prophet Moses said, okay, follow the Harun, he will be leading you, guiding you in 40 days. And he's still alive. Everyone knew it, that he's going to come back. He was alive. When he came back, they were worshipping the cow in 40 days. Not following other person, not doing other things, not saying, bringing some rules to themselves, worshipping a cow. This is the highest level of forgetting about the Prophet Moses, whatever he said, in 40 days. And they knew that Prophet Moses will come back, the Prophet Musa. And the Harun was there. And Harun, everyone knows that Harun was a prophet. It was mentioned by the Prophet Moses, and everyone knew that the people become worshipping the cow. So it is also in, if you see the Prophet histories, you'll find that it's very common. People do not believe and do not accept it. Even after a little bit absence of the Prophet, they will change anything about it. This is history. Do we have history in Islam? Yes. When the Prophet of Islam ordered people to follow the what is it called in English? I forgot it right now. The army, sorry. The army of Osama. Yeah. Follow that person. They said, no, he's 19 years old. We don't want to fight. Follow him. Finished. Done. Like we have it also in Islam. Prophet was saying, I'm alive. This guy, follow him. No, he's not. No, he's underage for us. We don't want to follow him. He's not the commander. Done. Even in Prophet's history. Do we have another one? Yeah, Prophet said, okay, stay in the Uhud, the mountain of Uhud here, so nobody can attack us. So after they see that the Prophet is fighting, they just come down from the mountain. They say, no, we can understand better than Prophet. Like, you know, that in one of the Uhud battle, Prophet said, we have to stay in the Medina, not going out. But the Muslims said, no, we go out and defeat them. So when they went out, Prophet said, okay, so see that they're not accepting the Prophet's idea. When they went out, the Prophet said, okay, stay in the mountains so they cannot attack us from the behind. But they didn't listen. So do we have it also in Islam? Yes. They didn't listen to the Prophet. Prophet was alive. Do we have another part that people didn't listen to Prophet? Yes. When he was in his bed, he said, bring me like a pen and a paper. And it's in Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari that says, they said like, we don't want to bring his na'uzu billah gone out. He's out of his mind. Do you see that even the Prophet wasn't obeyed even in his own time? How is it possible that he will be obeyed in after his time? His time, he's alive, he's seeing you, he's speaking to you, you're not listening. And imagine that he's gone. Who would listen to him? Nobody. They would choose their own path. So when we look at the time of the Prophet Moses, you'll find out that worshipping cow was something beyond everything, and like following another person is just a lower situation. But you will find this is the history. So Aksar nas doesn't mean being a majority, doesn't mean that it will be a great. And Muslims following something doesn't mean that they are correct. Why nobody followed the Osama? The army of Osama. Why people why the Prophet when says stay in the mountains? Why nobody listened to him? And many other things we have in the history of Islam. So we'll find out 3 points here. One point is that it should be mentioned. The second part is majority is not acceptable. And the third one is that we have also in the history of not only Islam, also in the previous prophets. Okay, now we want to know this Imam, what should this Imam do? What is his duty? The duty of Imam is telling, keeping, and explaining the Sharia, the religion. From whom? From himself or from the Prophet? From the Prophet, not from himself. Like you know that all Shia believes, whatever from Amir al-Mu'minin till Imam Mahdi, what they say, it is what the Prophet says. They cannot change it. And they will never change it. And what the Prophet says is the thing that God says. But when we go through the other sects of Islam, you'll find that they say, okay, a bid'at is not problem. Prophet says kullu bid'atin, but kullu bid'at doesn't mean the kull. It not means everything. So most people believe some other things that are already in Islam. It didn't happen in Prophet time. It's actually started in the other Caliph's time. And they believe this is a bid'ah, and it's great, not a problem. So it's mentioned by them. So their Imam says, I can bring something. You will see that their Imam brought something to the Islam, like, for example, praying together, the Salatul Mustahab together in Jama'ah. You know, this is a bid'ah. They believe it's a bid'ah, but it's good bid'ah. So Imam can say something, bring something to himself, and to bring it to the Islam. But Shia says no. Whatever Imam should say, it is what the Prophet says. He cannot bring something by himself. He's not allowed. So whatever the Imam says, from Amir al-Mu'minin to Imam Mahdi, it is what the Prophet says, nothing from themselves. So, you know, when they were choosing the Khalifa the third, they had a gathering. 6 people came. They also said, Amir al-Mu'minin, you should come here. The Amir al-Mu'minin companion, they said, it is humiliating to you to go to this place and sit with them. It's humiliating for you. It's disrespecting to yourself. Don't go there. Amir al-Mu'minin said, no, it's not like that. Because the people, it's mentioned this, the gathering was mentioned by the Khalifa second. Umar ibn Khattab said, you have to gather, all of you, and choose one person. This person can be either Amir al-Mu'minin or Osman. So who should be, can be Ali ibn Abi Talib or Osman, right? These 2 persons, mentioned by the Khalifa the second. Amir al-Mu'minin said, if I go to this gathering, to this meeting, it means the Ahlul Bayt also can be leading the rules and the society. Because when I said it is my time to rule, everyone said, we have a riwayah from the Prophet that Ahlul Bayt are not allowed to rule. So Amir al-Mu'minin said, I want to prove to them that they said this to go, Ali ibn Abi Talib, you have to go to this gathering to be, or either, be a Khalifa or not be a Khalifa. He said, if I go to this meeting, means they have accepted that riwayah was false. Because they're all leading me to being Khalifa. They're saying, Umar ibn Khattab saying, Ali ibn Abi Talib, you be a Khalifa. You can be a Khalifa or Osman can be a Khalifa. So means even Umar ibn Khattab believes in Ahlul Bayt can be a Khalifa. So I will go to this meeting. When Amir al-Mu'minin went to the meeting, it was meant they asked Amir al-Mu'minin, will you follow the book, the Sunnat Rasulullah and Sunnat the Sahaba? These people ask here, if the Sunnat Sahaba was Sunnat Rasulullah, why they mentioned 2 things? So if the Sunnah Rasulullah is the same with the Sunnah Sahaba, why they mention 2 things? But Amir al-Mu'minin says, no, only the Sunnah Rasulullah and the book. I will just choose these 2, not other things. Osman says, no, I will choose the Sunnah Rasulullah, Sunnah, the book, and Sunnah Sahaba. So you'll see that Amir al-Mu'minin never said, okay, I will choose something beyond or over this Prophet or the book. So Sunnat Sahaba means it's something else. How we find out it's something else? Like we go through the Quran to wuzu. Faghsalu. Yeah. Faghsalu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum. No, not just famsahu. Yeah, we just come to here. I just wanted the faghsalu and vamsahu. So if it is same, it would be mentioned the same thing. It would be faghsalu until the end of the ayah. If it's famsahu, it would be famsahu from the beginning till the ayah. Yeah. So if something different, it will become with different word. Faghsalu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum. Vamsahu is different. So if you just doing the faghsalu, the aydiyakum wa wujuhakum, and faghsalu your arjulakum, it means you're doing something wrong. Because if God wanted to do the faghsalu, would mention in faghsalu. So if the sunnah is the same, Sunnah Rasulullah with Sahaba is the same, it doesn't need to be mentioned by 2. Like following the Sunnah of Sahaba, doesn't need it. Like someone came here, follow that person and that person and that person. If they are doing the same thing, why should you say individual? You can just say it directly, follow this guy. It's the same. So you'll find out it's something different. And it is very interesting that in the Khalifa first, the rules was different in the Khalifa second. The way that they're praying, the way that doing all ibadah and other things was different. So who's doing the right? We're not saying that like who's right. Now, who's right, what you say? What just you want to say that think about it. It is not like accusing that Shia is doing wrong, something against Islam. or this sect is actually against Islam. We are in Islam. We have a thought that like I was in a class that was moral class, that my teacher said, as much as you think that you are right, give this chance, give this opportunity to the person who you're debating, that he's also in right place. Why? Because as much as you believe that you are right, he believes he's right as well. Don't just have a guard for yourself and believe that, okay, no, he's wrong. You can think, like, how is possible that God has a hand for himself? So he'll be limited. How big is this hand? So how he can create all this creation if he has a hand and is limited? Where does this hand wants to go? If I just take in this with my hand, I cannot take something else. I'll be limited. Is it God limited? It's easy, you can think of it. It doesn't need to just say, no, this is only we've heard it from our parents and we have to follow it. Because God gave you a brain. If you're not going to use it, why do you want it? You're a human with a brain, so you can think with that. People will come and say, okay, this means that you accusing and insulting the Sahaba. We never said that. We're saying right now, who should we follow? We're bringing reason that why we follow that person. Does it mean that I'm insulting someone else? No, I'm not insulting. I'm saying this person I'm following for these reasons. If I don't bring in a reason, why am I following them? For no reason, it's not possible. You have your reason for following that person. I have my own reason for the following this person. I've never insulted anyone. I'm not saying this isn't insulting. I'm just saying that I'm following this person for these reasons. Another thing, this is like accusing the Shia that insulting. Okay, you saying we insulting Sahaba and we say no, we don't insult. How about insulting the Prophet? Which one is greater? So if you are having the permission to insult the Prophet, it's okay. So if you're giving the permission to the people to insult the Prophet, okay, why not insulting the other people? So who's greater person in this world? The Prophet or other people? The Prophet. Does Shia believes Amir al-Mu'minin is greater than? No. Shia believes this, the thing that Amir al-Mu'minin said. Amir al-Mu'minin said, "Ana abdun min abid Muhammad." This is the Prophet. This is the abd. I'm here. Amir al-Mu'minin is saying. We believe in this. So who is a greater person in this world? Who's the greatest person among all the prophets? Who is the greatest creation of the God? Is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family. Insulting him means insulting the God, insulting the Quran. So this need to be think of it. And another thing that we mentioned, okay, we believe in, as I mentioned, to give the opportunity to the people to say what they believe, right? To not have a God. As much as I think that I'm right, it is possible that the other person is right. Like, I think 100% I'm right, it's 100% also for himself, because in his point of view. So when we say that Islam is something believing and the West world and the other nations believes. So we are standing, for example, the Muslims saying we have to be together. Why do we say Islam should be together? Because Prophet, all his effort was bringing all the nations united. We will find that even Amir al-Mu'minin tried to bring the Islam united. You'll see that even Umar ibn Khattab says in 73 times, لَوْلَا عَلِيٌّ لَحَلَكَ Umar. If Ali ibn Abi Talib was doing against the being united of Islam, it wouldn't say it by the Khalifa second. So he was trying to bring all the Islam nation together. You never find a place or a speech or the things that from the Ahlul Bayt that they wanted the Islam become separated. So all they wanted was Islam should be together. Okay, this is what we believe. Islam should be together. I have my own idea to choose imam. You have your own idea about to choose imam. It is not necessary. We're not forcing someone to have the other's idea and not insulting other people. This is the second thing. Okay, we believe Islam should be united. The third thing that we believe, Islam should be united. For what reason? One of the reasons is standing against those who want to destroy Islam. Someone would probably come and say, okay, you believe, for example, West world is trying and doing wrong against Islam. So what if, and also they believe Islam is doing something against them. So you say they are wrong. But how if we are wrong about them as well? We will answer them, the things that they believe about Islam, it comes from their own media. It comes from themselves. They're burning the Quran. We can see it. Whatever they're saying against Islam, it comes from themselves. It's not from us to telling them. But whatever it comes against them to the Islam that we know from them that is wrong, is not mentioned by ourselves. We saw it. Nobody in media came to us and says, okay, someone burned the Quran. Well, we saw it. They're burning the Quran. It's not necessary that media come to us and say it. And also, like, they're killing Muslims. We can see it. Where does ISIS came from? Ahl Sunnah believes they are wrong. Shia believes they're wrong. Who's supporting them? Where they got those weapons? It's not just $1 or $2. It's $1 billion. Like some countries under the sanction, they cannot have like good cars, good vehicles like Toyota, Porsche, Benz, or Mercedes, or other things. But ISIS had the greatest Toyota cars. Like you go to Cuba or other countries, they're not allowed to buy like Toyota or other cars. But ISIS, a terrorist group, they had the best cars in the world. Where they got it? Where they have the training, how they could kill, how they were well trained in a battle. So you'll find that they had a supporter. Who's this supporter? Yes. Who is doing it against Islam? So is it the Muslims showing themselves they're wrong? No, you will never find a true Muslim, like even the true Muslim, I mean a person, whether is Ahl Sunnah or Shia. You believe in the Muslim that La ilaha illallah will kill someone for like fun, or believes that they are pagans, we have to kill them. You'll never find it. But look at the Wahhabiyat, some of the Wahhabiyat. They're not killing, they're enjoying the killing. They have no respect to the Prophet, not to the Sahaba, not to the book, not anyone. The Islam is what they believe. It's not what is mentioned by the God. So this is what, it's not like we think by ourselves something against the West world. It is what we saw it and we are seeing right now. It is what they are doing. Like the Muslim country were in a very normal situation. Who attacked them? It was just Muslims. And I saw a very beautiful note from the Germany, Angela Merkel. She was a ruler of Germany a few years ago. She said that how is possible that India has many religions, they're living peacefully together, and Muslims, they cannot live together peacefully. They have one prophet, they say we have one book, we have one God, but they cannot live together peacefully. Okay, you are great, you are best, you are knowledgeable, you have the great wisdom. So who started the World One? Who started World War II? Who started? The Christianity war. Where did it start? Europe. Who attacked Iraq? Who attacked Afghanistan? Who attacked Palestine? Who attacked Pakistan? Who attacked India? Who attacked the other countries? Who can live peacefully? Who cannot live peacefully? Who attacked Africa? Who attacked South America? Who killed Australian people? The native Australians. Who killed the Native Americans? Canadians. It was Muslims. Who's living in peace? Like, if just wearing a coat with a tie, with a good perfume doesn't mean that you are not a savage person. You are the same savage. You kill brutally with no emotion and you will enjoy it. And they're doing it right now with just saying that the human rights. So when they comes and say something like this to Islam, we have to remind them, Islam never stood against themselves. Go back to this story. Did Amir al-Mu'minin stood against any of Caliphs? Did the Caliphs stood against? You'll find out that there's not something like that fighting among Muslims. And through the history, all the Shia did was being united to say that fight is not a solution. Killing is not a solution. It's not what mentioned by the God. But how about the West countries? They're still attacking the other countries. They're still killing the other people. And they say, no, it's human rights by themselves. So this is not the reason to believe that Islam is not doing it by itself. It is what is fact. Okay, let's go to our topic. What does Imam means? Imam means the person who leads a group or community, a person who stands in front of people, like the person who stands in front of people for praying. Imam al-Jama'ah in praying or salat. Imam does not mean necessarily a good meaning. It also can be a bad person who leads people to the hell. Like it is said, for example, A'immatul Kufr, A'immatul Nar, Imam al-Nar. These are mentioned in Quran. That's the leading to the Zalalat, leading to the hell. This can be a good example that shows Imam means for everyone who leads, either that person is a good or bad. So when someone says Imam, doesn't mean that necessarily it's a good meaning, or say, oh no, don't say it Imam to that person. A leader in Arabic means Imam. Okay, the belief of Imam. All religion believe in Imam, that this includes Islam sects as well. But some believe it is a pillar and some other believe it's not. Another difference is that Shia believes Imam should be chosen by God, and other sects believe people can choose their Imam. One another difference is the power of the Imam and what he can do and what his limitation. So the difference is in like what Imam can say, what Imam can do, what Imam can, what his abilities and other things. There can be differences, but we'll talk about it maybe later. The place and importance of the Imam is due to the leading and having a power beyond other powers. It makes a great place for Imam. Imam can be a commander in battle. The person who is the commander is called Imam. Or many other important situations. We also have many verses in Quran that mention Imam, and it shows that how a group will be depend on its leader. Like in Quran, Surah Isra, وَيَوْمَ نَدْعُ كُلَّ أُنَاسٍ بِإِمَامِهِمْ. Like in the Qiyamah, God will ask every nation, come with your Imam. When we want to judge you, it's with your Imam. Another part is mentioned by the God. If we take a look to Quran, we will find some verses that show how this position is important. Ya ayyuhal rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayk min rabbik, wa in lam taf'al fama ballaghta risalatahu. This is another one, shows the importance of imamat. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-islam deena. Or wa yawma nad'u kullu nasin bi imamihim. We want to say that imamat is wajib. So how we get this wajib, this wujub, this is a necessary thing. One is from the riwayat. It is mentioned, it is said, like by ahadith. For example, Ash'ari, because Ash'ari believes that there is nothing wajib in God, for God. So nothing is necessary for the God. God can do anything what he wants. But they believe imamat is wajib because of the ahadith. It's mentioned in many riwayat, so there should be an imam. Another way that we can find that imamat is wajib, it is because of the wisdom. Wujubul aqli. We find it from our wisdom, this wajib. Why? Because of leading the society. We will talk about this wisdom wujub later. So two ways to find out that imamat is wajib. One by ahadith, another one by our brain, wisdom. Okay, some reason it is that shows that imamat is wajib. It is mentioned in Quran, Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u rasul wa ulil amri minkum. This shows that how it is important. This is follow the God, follow the Prophet, and didn't say like all al-amr minkum, those people are greater than you, your wali. Follow them. So after the Prophet, you have to follow someone. It is mentioned in a riwayah. What riwayah? Man mata wa lam ya'raf imam zamanihi mata mitatan jahiliyah. It is also mentioned, you can also see the Kitab al-Qadir. It is mentioned by all the Ahl Sunnah, they believe it. Most of them, they believe it. Nowadays, they're just trying to like say, oh, questioning, maybe this is not true, riwayah or not, something like that. But it is a story that the all ulama of Ahl Sunnah were gathering in some places, and Allama Amini came to that gathering. They asked Allama Amini, why do you believe this belief that you believe? Your thought, why do you believe in it? Why you believe in Ali ibn Abi Talib? Why you do believe in Ahl Bayt? Other things. He said, okay, everyone is agree on this riwayah, man mata wa lam ya'raf imam zamanihi mata mitatan jahiliyah. Because Allama Amini was very great and knew all the books of the Ahl Sunnah and other sects. He was a knowledgeable person. So they couldn't say, no, it's not true. They said, yeah, it's true. It is mentioned. He said, everyone agreed. Everyone said, yes, we agree. Allama Amini asked, okay, we all believe in Hazrat Zahra and his power. Who is she? Sayyidat Nisa Alami. She will go to the heaven. They said, yes, we believe. Allama Amini asked, who was the Imam of Hazrat Zahra? If she didn't have an Imam, she would die Jahiliyyah. She would have gone to the hell. But according to the all ahadith we have, she will go to the heaven. So she should have an Imam. Who is that Imam? Everyone believes in Hazrat Zahra and his position, the greatest women in the world. So who was the Imam of Hazrat Zahra? If you say the other people, you'll find that even the Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim says, Hazrat Zahra says, I was angry on them. I was saying against them in my prayers. So who was Hazrat Zahra's Imam? Another part that we will find out is wajib. It is mentioned by some great ulamas that Muslims' lifestyle, the the habit of Muslims is always choosing imam for themselves. From the Prophet time until right now, they always choose imam for themselves. So we'll find that if they are doing it every time, in every situation, they find making or choosing an imam, so it shows imam is wajib. It should be imam. Another part that we want to talk right now here is one of God's rule is called lutf. Lutf means, if we want to translate it in English, it's Arabic. If you want to translate it in English, means God's something like mercy, doing something greater than mercy, like a gift to the humans. So we believe this lutf is wajib for the God. Why is it necessary for the God? Because we say guiding the human being is lutf. It is something that is merciful, mercy, helping the humanity. So this rule is necessary for the God to guide the human being, to help them. Okay, if the Prophet who is stopped and Islam doesn't have any leaders, they're going to be separated. They don't know what they should do for the rules, for the ahkam, for the faith, for other things. They're misguided. So it is necessary for the God, according to this rule, that guide the human being. How he should guide the human being? It is by the lutf rule. Does it necessary that everyone should be guided? No, it is not necessary. Like he can just only let human being to know, and it is on the human being to accept it or just leave it alone. So this is the fourth reason that they will bring it and say it is wajib for the God to mention imam. Okay, reasons to have the imam. We have two reasons for this. One is that is also mentioned in Ahl Sunnah's books and other things, that to rule the society, to bring justice to this society, and other things that's like meaning leading and being, for example, like a government, politicians, something like for the not spiritual, just only physical things. Another part that Shia believes is telling, keeping, explaining the Sharia. Telling the Sharia means telling what Prophet said, what is in the book. This is how you should pray, this is how you should do the fasting and other things. Keeping means keep it and from the other problems, misguidance, and from the evilness things, like what Imam Hussein did. He stood against, I'm here to, what Imam Hussein says, I'm here to bring again the Islams, to revive it. This is what Imam should do. Kill himself for the Islam, to be died for the Islam, to keep Islam alive. Another one is explaining why is it, the reasons. Again, a guiding in extra way, the Sharia. There's another reasons to have Imam and Imam's duty. So it has two duties, like first one is like physical and second one is just like kind of spiritual duty. So for the last part of our class, and this is Imam attributes. Imam has many attributes, so we're gonna just mention some of it. Being the greatest, afzaliyat. Being the greatest person. Imam should be the greatest one. In anything. Anything that comes to your mind, Imam should be the greatest one. So imagine, like, someone is greater than Imam in ibadat. How is that Imam can be a Imam of Islam, when someone is greater than him in ibadat? He should be a greater in, for example, other physical and like wisdoms and other things. If someone who is more like clever than Imam. So how Imam can be a leader is if someone is more clever. So Imam should be the greatest in everything. The second one is the knowledge should be by the God. It is possible, yeah, it is possible. Like the Hazrat Maryam, where did he got his her knowledge? It was like something comes to his her like heart. And the mother of Prophet Moses, how it becomes to herself that she should send her child in the river, and many other like Prophet Reza. And we have it is mentioned also in the Quran that we also lead the animals by sending to their hearts and bringing to themselves. So, and many other reasons that how it comes to them, this knowledge of by the God. Not necessary to have a vahy, it's not necessary for that. So the knowledge by the God, it can be like either way, like by coming to your heart, but it also can be mentioned by the Prophet. Prophet gives his own knowledge to Amir al-Mu'minin, to Imam Hassan, to Imam Hussein, and all to Imam Mahdi. Another part for Imam that Imam's attribute is vilayat. He's beyond you. He has power in also your life. He can order you. He can do anything by mentioned by the God. This should be mentioned by the God to do something in the world. So this is the vilayat. Should follow him. And many other things you can just search by the vilayat, but it doesn't mean necessary. And if you want another question, I will explain later. Another attribute of the Imam is have to obey Imam. Imam has hujjiyatul kalam, means his own speech or what he says, it is something that is mentioned by the God. So he's just all what he's saying, just like explaining or saying what is from, it is from the God. So you should obey him. So obeying is one of the attributes of Imam, hujjiyatul kalam. So this was the attributes of Imam, some of it that Imam has. It is too many other attributes, but we are in limitation of the time. And yeah, it's almost 6 p.m. and it's our last session. So should we finish the class and just go away? Okay, so for the last thing, I will just stay here and I will answer your question. If you have any question, I will be glad to hear your questions. Yeah.
I have some confused about the wilayah, the power of life. Could you explain about the example, the powers of life?
Wali means someone like, for example, your parents, they say it's your wali. They can decide even from your side. Like they say from until the 18th yourself, for example, the rule of the countries is that your parents can decide from yourself. Why? Because they have a power beyond your power.
Or beyond the power.
Yeah. So they can decide from yourself. And what they say, you have to obey. Like, for example, you want to go to school. What they ask you to bring your parents to see what they should do and what are the things they want to do. Like, for example, you want to go to a school. Who should say that? Your parents. If you are underage. The rules say if you are underage, you should bring someone who has beyond your power to decide from yourself. So this is the power. We're not saying Imam is doing it or not doing it. We say this is the power Imam has it. That can he decide from your side.
Thank you.
Does Imam also receive a message from God?
Like a wahy?
Yeah.
No.
So we can say if we want to quote statement from Muhammad Bakir or Imam Jawad, we can say Qala Rasulullah.
because all they said from Rasulullah.
It is what they say it is from Rasulullah, but didn't Rasulullah said it? No, it is not what Rasulullah said it. But it is because he didn't say, we cannot say Rasulullah said. But if Rasulullah had the time, he could say that.
Oh, the
Oh.
knowledge from.
Yeah, it is knowledge from them. So, for example, we have many riwayah from, we say An Rasul. Why don't we say An Allah? Why don't we say is it from the God? The thing is from whatever prophet is from the God, but the words and the translation and all the things is from the prophet. So if it was only from the God, it would be inside the book. So when we say for example, An al-Baghi, An al-Jawad and all the things from, just because it's coming from those Imams' mouth, we just have to say from An al-Baghi. But it is the knowledge by the God also. So it's not just only the prophet, it's mentioned, we can say it's from the God. But we have some riwayats, if you have seen it probably, it said like, Imam Sadiq said, I've heard it from my father said it from his father from his father. Amir al-Mu'minin heard it from prophet. And some of them is like Hadith al-Qudsi, it says from prophet from the Jibreel from the God.
Yes, the Quran doesn't explicitly command to follow the 12 Imam by name, or at least mention their number.
Quran, as we said, like Quran mentioned the Imam. Yeah, there will be Imam. So we just brought it
But not explicitly.
specifically, yeah. But Quran never specifically mentioned the salat, never specifically mentioned any other things. Quran is very general. If Quran decided to mention everything specifically, people would try to change it. So Quran, for being a book that has never been changed, said everything in general.
They will tread their lives.
Everyone would, yeah. So you see the Torah was changed, the Bible was changed, but never, Quran has never changed. Why? Because all the things that in Quran said is just the same thing that everyone believes in it. But if Qurans come to the specific things, people will never accept it. It will be changed. The reason is this. Another reason is God wanted to do it like this way. It's not always, God is not always like saying everything specifically, like he could speak by himself. Like everyone could understand someone is speaking and saying like, pray, or I don't know, like follow this person or do other things. It will be like mentioning by the Quran, by the God, but never God did that. Why? Because God wants the people decide by themselves. Like people could be created in a way that they be like angels. They have to pray. No, this is the human nature. Yeah, so that's why the prophets, every nation had their own prophets came and they easily disobeyed their own prophets, but never God decided to do something against the justice of the world.
The Quran contains evidence for the status and purity of the prophets. Where does it talk about the status and purity of the Shia Imams?
Like, I don't get it. Can you explain more?
Does all the Imams are ma'sum also?
Yeah.
From what
From
source?
where?
Yeah.
We will bring it from Atiullah wa Atiur Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. So if you have to follow them, if they make a mistake, how is that possible? We are doing a mistake if you're following that. Like, is it obvious, right? Like we say Atiullah, the person who is the prophet, called a prophet, he should do everything right. If he does one thing mistake, if we follow that, means we're doing wrong. And God is leading us to mistake, misguiding us. That's impossible. It's 100% impossible. So when God says, "Wa ulil amri minkum," there are like some people, not a prophet. Ulil amri minkum is not the prophet.
Which is the Imam.
Yeah, the Imams. So if the God says, follow the ulil amri minkum, not one person, many persons. These people should be someone not have the ismat, like they should be out of the mistakes. They should be clear from any
Sins.
sins, many like mistakes and other things. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone in.
From Susanti, are Muslim who don't know about the imamat or don't yet believe in the imamat, can they decide to be Muslim?
We mentioned Islam is not something like to be saying just believing, because we said everyone believes in imamat, but the different imam. But Islam is saying believing in oneness of the God, the book, and the prophet. This is Islam. They are accepted as a Muslim. This is the Muslims. What is the next? Does it have any other things? The question?
Yeah, only can they said to be Muslim?
Yeah,
It's
they are
only
Muslims,
that,
yeah.
If you have other question, so Santi, you can use the mic.
The similarities and differences between imamah during the Prophet Abraham and during the Prophet Muhammad.
Imam was like a position.
Mm.
So it's given a good position. When we say Imam of the Prophet Ibrahim, it was a good position. It was given to the Prophet Ibrahim and also the Ahlul Bayt. So it shows how Imamat is important.
Have the question about the loot.
Yeah.
The mercy, greatest gift to human and humanity. My question is, the Bluetooth is feature or not? The feature.
No, it's something from the God. Like it is his mercy, it is on himself that to guide a human being.
Oh, okay, from God.
From the God, yeah, from himself. Why is it? Because people should be guided to have the knowledge to go to the heaven and other things. So this is something that God is doing by himself as a mercy to the human being. But it is also, this mercy is wajib for the God to guide the human being. So the Lutf rule is very not a very small rule, it's just very exclusive and it's not like something very small, but one of it is this, that God should guide all human from the God. Yeah. So how God should guide the human? Sending the prophets or the book and other things.
When it mentioned that if you die without knowing your imams at the time, you die in the state of Jahiliyyah. Or what about the Ahlul Sunnah who doesn't believe in the imam?
They have a mom.
If they doesn't know, they also die in the state.
If they don't have a mom, it is impossible to not have an imam. For example, even the Ahlul Sunnah, they all believe in one imam. It's impossible. Like, it's not saying like we just believe in Prophet. No one says like that. We don't have any sect in Islam to say we don't have any imam. Everyone has an imam. They're gonna be asked about their imams. Who's your imam in another vault? So it is by the God to say what is correct, what is not correct, and other things. So I think we're done, right? No other questions?
Okay.
So, okay, we are at the end of our session here and at the end of our journey for many journeys we started a few months ago, and hope we had something, we've done something, and hope you learned something, I've learned something from you and from the other things, and hope you do not stop it here and just continue reading the books, searching and learning more, because Islam is not nothing in what we said, just not like these few sessions. What we said here were just the reasons what we believe. Doesn't mean that we are 100% correct. You think, we're not saying that you are wrong or other people going to the hell or other people, we're not the God. But what we believe, we have to have a reason for what we believe. So for our thoughts, our beliefs, our other thing that we know it is correct, we have to bring a reason. If we don't have a reason, it's meaningless to believe in it. So for our beliefs and for our thoughts, I brought a few reasons for that. It doesn't mean that other people don't have any reasons, but also this is the thought of us, and we believe inshallah everyone goes to heaven. That will be so great. But also try to think and do not be emotional person and accept everything what your parents or your great parents said to yourself, or what social media says. Like if social media says Islam is dangerous, do not believe in it until you find out is it dangerous or it's not dangerous. Learn Islam, but it's Islam, not something out of Islam. Some people came after the Prophet. They came and asked some questions about Islam. They had some questioning. Nobody could answer those people. They were like Christian and Jewish people. They said, okay, who should be answer that? They said, okay, Amir al-Mu'minin can answer that. When Amir al-Mu'minin came and they asked a question, Amir al-Mu'minin answered all those questions. They said, so why then you are not in charge? You should be in charge. And Amir al-Mu'minin doesn't say anything. Then we say, okay, loving what we believe in, the common thing is the oneness of the God, the Tawheed, the prophethood, the Quran, and also the loving of Ahlul Bayt. The loving of Ahlul Bayt and are the reasons made us to follow the Ahlul Bayt. According to the Riwayat, according to something that is it's mentioned by our wisdoms, and according to the Quran, made us to follow the Ahlul Bayt. And also according to the history. So it made us to follow the Ahlul Bayt, and hope inshallah this hope and this loving of Ahlul Bayt guide and save all the human beings. Like, you know, we have a riwayat of Prophet says, if everyone had followed and loved Ali ibn Abi Talib, God would have never created the nar, the hell. So remember that. So when we say the Islam, look at Islam, don't look at me, just the person who is a representative of Islam, like the Prophet or the Amir al-Mu'minin when he said, Sa'aluni qabla an tafqaduni. Ask me before you losing me. So this is a great person, not me. What I mean by me means just like human being like me. Everyone can be the person. If someone comes here and says, okay, these people made me to stand against Islam or the book or the Prophet or the God. So they are just human being like me and like other people. So if you want to see you will stand against the God or the Prophet and other people, see the Prophet, see the Hazrat Zahra, see Amir al-Mu'minin, see the Imam Hassan, see the Ahlul Bayt. See the Imam Hussein, that when the shamr was on his chest, Imam Hussein said, if you go, I will do the shafa'ah for you. I'll forgive you. So this is the greatest of forgiveness. If you want to know the Islam, see it by this side, not by just a person who is just speaking or bringing something from Islam. Sometimes it's just some people want to have a power to have some fans, some followers. So they're just saying that we are a great person. If you have any other questions from the Imamat, from Adalat, from the justice we mentioned, from the Tawheed, from the prophethood, for all the sessions we had, even the Islamic lifestyle we had, you can send, if you are far away from Jakarta or from ICC, you can send your question to Mr. Eddie, and inshallah we will respond to your question as soon as possible. And if you are close to here, I'll be in like ICC. I'm always in ICC every day, so we can see each other, and if you have any question, we can speak to each other and learning more from each other. So thank you very much. I hope that these sessions was something, and hope your dua, your prayer is also, don't forget me further than your prayer for me. I hope that you're doing it. So that I mentioned that you are praying for me as well. I hope your prayers goes to the God, and God accept all your prayers for me. Good prayers, not the bad one if you're doing it. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in the greatest positions in this world, and inshallah in the another world. Inshallah, all we have the shafa'at of Ahlul Bayt, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, thank you very much. See you when I see you. Thank you very much. Mr. Adi, thank you for all the sessions.
The last one.
Yeah, this was the last one.
Oh, the last one.
Yes.
For Islamic thought.
For everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Muharram.
Inshallah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Because I have to be prepared for the Muharram
Yeah.
and other things that we couldn't just continue the patient.
Thank you very much.
You already finished it. The thing is 16 sessions, right? One session's left, I think. Yeah, just one session. That's okay now.
Thank you very much. Oh, udah. David ya?
Tadi
Ya.
itu Muharram. Muharram. Masih bukan Muharram itu lagi. Bukan.